Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will introduce the situations where entry and exit result from strategy behavior by both incumbent and entrant firms. Market foreclosure limits access of buyers and sellers to each other. I first consider the entrant deterrence strategies, which are about capacity expansion and product proliferation. There are three types there are three entrant types, which are entrant accommodation, entrant deterrence, block dated entry. The first one is entrant accommodation is no matter what the incumbent does, the entrant is better off by entering. The second, entrant deterrence is no matter what capacity the entrant chooses, its gross profit is lower than its entrant cost, then the entrant is better off by entering. The last one is no matter what capacity it chooses, its gross profit does not compensate for entrant cost. I will introduce two types entrant deterrence strategies, which are capacity expansion and product proliferation. First, the incumbent firm decided what capacity to produce. Next, when the entrant firm has observed the incumbent's choice, the entrant decides whether to enter and, if so, what production level to choose. An incumbent optimum capacity choice depends on the level of entrant costs. If entrant costs are very high, then the incumbent should set monopoly capacity and ignore the threat of entry. If entry costs are intermediate, then the incumbent should choose a capacity large enough to induce the entrant not to enter. Finally, if entry costs are very low, then the incumbent should choose a capacity taking into account the entrant's best response. If entry costs next, I will introduce the product proliferation. This strategy, increasing the variety, is not limited to the density in the product space. It also applies to the density in geography space. When the incumbent increase the variety of products, the new entrant sees a high competition to induce to give up. Second, I will analyze a possible incumbent strategy to induce the exit of firms that have already entered with a particular focus on bundling. Bundling is a strategy that firms sell products as a package to occupy more market shares. There are some reasons to use bundling. A reasonable package sales strategy can attract more consumers, so the companies can get more consumer surplus. When a firm dominates a market, it's difficult for other competitors to enter, thus causing other firms to exist. In here, I will give an example of the bundling. Tesla has lost a major advantage in the residential solar power market over the like of companies Sunrun and SunNova in recent years. Tesla has set its goal on regaining the leadership in the U.S. residential solar power market, and Tesla's bundling of its own solar project and batteries is an example of a bundling strategy. Through the bundling sales, Tesla's solar power business in the first quarter of 2020 reached its peak in the recent years. So we can see that the bundling is an effective way to attract more market share. And there's my reference I use. Thank you for listening.